Amendment to the amendment in the nature of a substitute to H-Res 755,
I reserve
offered
a
by
point of
Mr.
order.
Biggs of Arizona.
Gentlelady reserves a point of order. The gentleman is recognized to explain his amendment.
Is she going to read the amendment, sir?
The clerk will read the amendment.
Page 4, strike line 8 and all that follows through line 13 and insert the following. 3, the aid was released within days of Ukrainian President Zelensky signing 2 major anti-corruption measures into law, convincing President Trump that the new Ukrainian administration was serious about reform measures and consistent with administration policy to ensure foreign aid is not used for corrupt purposes.
The gentleman will explain his amendment.
I withdraw my point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I draw my colleagues' attention to a letter sent yesterday from the Office of Management and Budget regarding the temporary pause on aid to Ukraine. The letter is addressed to Mr. Tom Armstrong, General Counsel of the GAO, and I ask unanimous consent that it be included in the record.
Object.
The entire reason we're here today is because Democrats have accused the President of conditioning aid to Ukraine on investigations into his political opponent. Today, Democrats have continued to claim President Trump withheld or froze foreign aid to Ukraine, but the OMB letter walks through the entire process behind this temporary delay. First, the money was paused, but DOD was permitted to engage in all of the activities short of obligation necessary to ensure that DOD would not be precluded from obligating the funds prior to the expiration. The money was paused, according to the letter, pending a policy decision. And what was the policy decision? Your 2 witnesses, Fiona Hill and David Hale, testified that there was an ongoing global review of foreign assistance generally to ensure any program receiving funds were actually worthy beneficiaries of our assistance, that the programs made sense, etc. Mr. Hale further testified that the President's skeptical views on foreign assistance guided the Foreign Affairs Review. In fact, the only direct evidence for the reasons for the pause comes from OMB official Mark Sandy, who testified that he learned in September that the pause was related to, quote, the President's concern about other countries contributing more to Ukraine, close quote. He explained how OMB received requests for information on what other countries were contributing to Ukraine, which OMB provided in the first week of September. The aid was released, of course, on September 11th. So Democrats want to impeach the President for trying to ensure that taxpayer funds are spent efficiently and responsibly. Democrats have accused his President of a myriad of things, including violation of the Impoundment Control Act, which prohibits the executive from essentially pocket vetoing funds appropriated by Congress. This letter that I'm trying to introduce shows instead that the administration never intended or actually violated the law. In fact, it shows that they always intended to disperse the funds. That is why DOD was permitted to engage in all activities in preparation for the delivery of the aid. You've not made your case again. The OMB letter walks through at great length the history behind programmatic delays. I'm sure this would be boring to my friends on the other side, since it technocratically destroys their central theory for impeachment. In the letter, the OMB General Counsel said even with the temporary withholding, the Department of Defense was able to obligate about 84% of the $250 million before the end of the fiscal year on September 30th. In the last year, the Obama administration, it was only 79%. More recently, in 2018, it was 83%, and in 2017, 91%. Let's get back to it. The specific language of the Appropriations Authority says, for the Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative, it's hereby, $250 million is hereby appropriated to remain available until September 30th, 2019. That's point 1, to remain available until September 30th, 2019. When we authorize funds, we give the administration a deadline. The administration complied with that deadline. The administration acted completely and totally within the bounds of the law. Secondly, the OMB's letter now definitively destroys the insinuation that the President chose to delay for malicious or corrupt purposes. The bottom line is the aid was lawfully delayed and lawfully delivered. And that means that this entire process has been a sham. And with that, I'm going to address a couple of issues that I heard. I heard one of my colleagues on the other side say not too long ago that the President should come in and prove his own innocence. Think about what that does. Come in and prove your own innocence. First of all, that is antithetical to the Anglo-American judicial process. It's antithetical to the constitutional and the Constitution, particularly the Bill of Rights. It's antithetical to what we do here. Someone said that Vindman said that was complaining about the transcript, but has been gone over today. The transcript was complete and accurate, according to Mr. Vindman. Someone said, And I would ask this of my colleagues. Under the standard that was given earlier by one of my colleagues, if the president exercised executive privilege and requested a declaratory judgment from a court, if the privilege was upheld, would you undertake then to impeach the judge? I mean, think about that. Your standard, giving absolute process authority to the House, would impel you to impeach a judge who sustained a lawful exercise of the privilege of the executive. So I think, Mr. Chairman, you've overgone your bounds, and when we get back to this, my amendment, it basically covers and sets forth clearly what the holding or the pause of the Ukrainian aid was about, and they got their money, and they got it on time.
The gentleman yields back. Without objection, the material previously submitted by Mr. Cohen, Mr. Swalwell, and Mr. Biggs will be admitted into the record.